And the fighting in the Middle East is also creating hidden dangers for Americans abroad and here at home. WTOP national security correspondent JJ Green joins us the conversation now. JJ, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me on.
So JJ, put the current battle space and operations into context for us here.
Well, this is one of those wars where the sky itself becomes a weapon, essentially, because it's crowded, it's confused, and it's lethal. I mean, you have, in the last 3 days, you have rolling airspace closures, airport disruptions, you have mass flight cancellation. This is states, and there are probably about 10 of them that are trying to keep civilian aircraft out of the way of fighter jets, drones, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles. It's a very complicated airspace up there in the battle space, and it's not easy to respond to these kinds of situations for a U.S. or an Israel or anyone, because for a long time we've heard from military commanders that when you have a battle space that's that congested, it really slows down the amount of time or the ability to respond to things. So things happen quickly now, but responding is difficult because of the crowded, congested battle space in the air. And that's just in the air, hon.
Right. And the Secretary of Defense said he would not rule out boots on the ground. Talk to us about the risk to U.S. forces in the region and Americans and the country's interests.
Well, first of all, risk on the ground, they start with asymmetric attacks. The Iranians that would be on the ground know the territory frontwards and backwards. Any U.S. boots that would be on the ground wouldn't know it as well. And there are many places that attacks can be launched from, and lots of different entities that could do it. There are proxies. There's also Iran's global covert network that could respond, and they can do lots of different things, including outright attacks, attempted assassinations, kidnappings, all sorts of things. One of the things that I've learned about in the last 24 hours is that government personnel, some military personnel have been told to turn off their locations on some of the devices they use and some of the apps they use because of the fact that Iran and some of its friends are able to capitalize on tracking devices and tracking down American troops. So boots on the ground, in addition to facing Iran's conventional military capabilities, there would be the asymmetric problem that they would have to face as well, which could be overwhelming.
And you mentioned a myriad of risks here. What do you see is the U.S.'s endgame in this war?
That's the $64,000 question. We don't know. This started out as dealing with Iran's missile capabilities, its missile launching and building capabilities. Then there was this discussion from within the administration about taking out Iran's Navy because it's impacting 20% of the world's commerce that's flowing through the Strait of Hormuz and other parts of the region. Then, of course, came this discussion and this idea from the president himself about regime change. And so we're hearing now all three of those sort of fused in. It looks as though the administration is kind of adding things as it goes, moving things as it goes, and we're not clear exactly what their end game is.
All right. WTOP national security correspondent JJ Green, thanks for joining us tonight, JJ.